Welcome to an exclusive episode of Real Talk with Your Realtor. Here we have one of the best realtors, if not the best realtor in the Tampa Bay area. We got Mr. Sammy Haji.
Thank you so much for the introduction.
Your portfolio is based on people that you met through the decades in the Tampa Bay area.
Oh, my entire business is based on referrals and people I've met, including you. A lot of people recommend me, and that's how I get a lot of business.
Like, where'd you buy your house and how did you
Right.
buy it?
Who did you? How did it go? How was it?
Yeah.
Was it pleasant? Did he do a good job? Did he find you a good deal?
Right.
You know, those are the big questions, right? Like
Right.
that's what you want when you're buying a house. You want to make sure you're working with someone that knows what they're doing, someone that has experience.
It's a lot of moving pieces that I was not familiar with, and I'm sure you see it on a day-to-day basis. You're like, fill me in on those steps with the inspections.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so as soon as the offer gets accepted, you have to put in a deposit towards the escrow. So you have a few days. Usually I put 3 days after the offer is accepted for you to deposit the money. Then you have an inspection period where you want to make sure, you take a look at the home, make sure there's no issues with it. So you hire a good inspector.
Into detail about inspector, or how do you even find an inspector, and who would you recommend?
I always go and I always recommend Kenny McLaurin and Joshua Archer. Kenny's with McLaurin Inspection, Joshua Archer is with Pro Inspect, and these guys do a high volume of houses. And that's and they've been doing it for years.
Okay.
And that's who you want. People with experience that sees these properties all day long, and that's what they work on. And I'm sure there's a lot of other good inspectors out there. But these are the two inspectors I feel comfortable going with, and they do an excellent job. I mean, they will find every little thing that's wrong with the property, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I assume that's not to tear down the house. It's actually to build the credibility of not what they do for a living, but also make sure that you are buying the right house and under the right structure.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So protecting the both buyer and the seller.
Yes. Inspection plays a big role. So that's what goes through my head. I'm like, I hope it passes inspection. I hope there's nothing there. I hope there's no issues that can kill the deal.
And if there was, it would be your fault.
Well, sometimes yes.
To the consumer's mindset.
Right. But I do ask the sellers for a seller's disclosure ahead of time, and we review it before even putting the offer in. We review the seller's disclosure. A lot of times they provide it. Now, if it's someone that's an investor. They just bought the property and they're flipping the property and they didn't put much work into it. They have no knowledge, and they never occupied. So they'll tell you, hey, we never occupied. We don't have any knowledge. So that's even more important for you to get an inspector to check to make sure that the property has no issues.
Okay. Now, closing time, deals closed. Everybody.
Well, so
Whoa,
don't
not that
forget.
easy.
Don't forget the appraisal.
Yes.
Now, you go past the inspection period. At the same time, the buyer is now doing a loan process. So we're hoping everything goes good with the loan at the same time. Hope he gets a conditional approval. And then the lender hires an appraiser.
Okay.
So the appraiser can come out and appraise the property.
This was as a realtor in 2021.
We have to make sure the property appraises.
Right.
A lot of times I do comps prior to even going under contract so that we know exactly what to offer. I look at the square footage price and the properties that sold in the neighborhood within the past 6 months, and that's how we determine what the square foot price is for the property that we're planning to put an offer on. Okay. We won't have any issues with the appraisal because we already did the homework.
Okay.
And then
it's never done.
It's never done. So then you have to ensure the loan is good. We have an approval. We do a final walkthrough. We have to make sure the seller moves all his belongings completely out of the house so that we can close without any issues. Because we've had some closings where the closing date was approaching and the seller's like, well, I haven't had time to get my furniture out. I don't have a place to go yet. I need an extension, and there's all sorts of issues when it comes to real estate, and the biggest one is financing.
Right.
So financing can fall off. Like a person can lose their financing at the last second.
Give me a scenario how that happens. Other than the basic stuff of them losing their jobs.
They can lose. Okay, so that's the basic, right? They can lose their job. Number one thing, they lose their job. That's happened to me before. And they were like, hey, just keep the deposit because I don't have, I lost my job. The deposit's not just gonna cover that. You know, you were under contract, you're obligated to sell. So,
if I lost a job, I wouldn't be saying keep the deposit.
There and buy a bunch of things on their credit card.
Yeah.
The lender checks and sees that he just bought a brand new car, or he bought all the furniture for the house before even closing on the property, and your credit debt is way up. He's not gonna get the loan.
Right.
So things like that happen. Please don't go and buy furniture. Please don't go and buy a Lamborghini.
I understand there's a lot of people that got into the real estate business in the 2020, 2021 era. How do you think they are doing right now?
This year, 2024, this year's been a little bit of a struggle for a lot of agents out there, especially agents who were newly licensed 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So it's been really rough. Things were booming. People were, moving here from California, from New York. I mean, houses were selling like crazy. We had a shortage of houses at that time. So being a realtor in 2021 was actually pretty great.
Okay.
The market right now, it's tough. If you're not getting referrals from past clients, it's really hard. It's not everybody's buying a property this year, and things are slow. So it's been a struggle for a lot of the agents. Just advertise, just prospect, cold call, do whatever you need to do, network. It's gonna come back. That's real estate. It's the market. It's sales. It's the market. Sometimes it slows down. Sometimes it picks up, and you just have to go with it. So many agents that are just leaving the industry.
I've been in real estate for well over a decade now. So my question to you is, things change, times change, people change, market changes, and with change comes adaptation. You adapted so well to the social media era, where you have just used your network and pushed yourself into the social media world, and daily, if not weekly, if not monthly, you were pushing and pushing and pushing. What are some tips that you've given yourself or learned from others that help you push your business or your network through social media?
So social media for me was a blessing. I joined Instagram when they first started. This is, I think, 2014. And I was licensed at the time, and I started posting real estate, started posting houses in Tampa, and people started following because you didn't have a lot of agents that were on Instagram at the time. No one was really posting stuff.
I would imagine it was a taboo. Like,
it was.
I'm a professional. Why would I be on social media?
Yes, absolutely. I actually earned a lot of business off of social media. At one point, social media was paying me to be a creator. Every video I posted, I got paid in return for it. So it made me do it even more.
Yeah.
I started doing that more frequently, and I started actually getting business from it. People in Tampa were like, hey, how much is that property? Oh, where's this one located? And I started getting a lot of business. A lot of the agents like, hey, go on social media, post videos, but post who you are as well. Not just don't post videos of properties. Post what you do every day so they can see who it is. They're not just seeing videos of houses, they're seeing who you are as a person. And if they like you, you'll get business from it. And I know so many agents who got their license like 5, maybe 6 years ago that are killing it on social media right now. They're getting business left and right still, You want to take every avenue you can find in order to find business.
It's limitless.
Yes.
A video here filmed in Tampa area could be seen in Dubai, and you just don't know who's watching.
Exactly.
You never know who's watching. Like a car industry, I'm looking for a car, Auto Trader, Carvana, blah blah blah. But what's in the real estate business? Where should I start?
The first thing to do is reach out to an agent. Reach out to me, so that I can find you the properties that are on the MLS, which is where we all put our data.
Okay.
So I wouldn't recommend going on Zillow. I would definitely recommend you get an agent who has access to the MLS. We send you the information, what's accurate.
With the Tampa area just hitting or getting hit by 2 hurricanes in the recent months, what would you say that how does a hurricane affect business, good, bad, or indifferent? How do you see the real estate market being affected by this hurricane moving forward?
We had a lot of damage here in Tampa. So what's going to happen is I got 7 properties on the market as we speak, and for the past 2.5 weeks, Milton, Helene, things were really slow. Nobody was really out looking at a property, so everything was just sitting. We didn't have electricity for most of the time. But this week, I had a showing request on every single one of my properties that's on the market. So people are back looking for properties. There's a lot of people that are displaced. So rentals are going quick right now. And what's happening is in Shore Acres, I think they got flooded. This is the 3rd time they got flooded in the past year.
Oh no.
So can you imagine coming home, your house is flooded, now you have remediation, you got to cut the drywall, you got to make sure there's no mold. You go through all that, and it happens again, and then it happens again. So there's a lot of people that are selling their properties in Shore Acres, including some of the agents that my colleagues that I know. So they just a lot of people are fed up with it, and then they're selling it for land value. They can't sell the structure because you're gonna have to tear it down and build it to code. So they're selling it for land value. For developers and investors, now's a great time to go and pick up a property that's on the beach or close to the beach, build it to code, and then you can resell it, or you can also rent it out. A lot of people are probably going to sell their property that's fed up with the hurricanes that's been, and you're going to have a lot of people that's going to come in and they're going to sweep it up, because like me, I would love to have a property on the beach. I would love to have a property near the beach. But I'm waiting to buy something. If I see a good deal, I'm going to go ahead and buy it, So there's people out there that they've been waiting for a long time, and we know the prices were pretty high. Then you just have to go in there and build it up to code. But if another flooding does happen, we just have to deal with it, because we know what we're getting into now.
Right. Yeah. As a realtor, that can help drive the value of their home up.
Renovations.
Okay.
Renovations is the number one thing. It does add to the value. Make sure you have insurance after all this devastation. A lot of people who didn't have insurance on their properties because they owned it outright. So always make sure to have property insurance in order to help you in situations like what we just faced. If you have a brand new roof on your property, that's going to help you sell your property quicker. Fairly new AC units, or any upgrades you do to the house will help you sell the property quicker and even get equity in it.
Now, would a basketball court in the backyard be considered an upgrade?
I would assume so.
For the right buyer.
There's always the right buyer out there. There's always the right buyer.
Good to know. So swimming pools and lanais and stuff like that?
Swimming pools are good to have. It depends how much you spend into the swimming pool.
Right.
Like when I added a pool at my property, I went a little overboard.
Right.
So I know when I go to sell it, I'm not going to get that in return, but I will get a little bit of equity into the property because I have a pool, and it's more demanding. People that move to Florida, from what I see, they want a home with a pool.
All right, sweet. All right, before we wrap it up, anything else you want to add or any shout outs you want to give?
I want to give a shout out to you.
Hey.
For having me over here tonight. And putting this handsome man up here on the TV.
Follow him on Instagram.
Follow me on Instagram, broker in Tampa.